Talamoana Exile, Scottoria here to bring you an in-depth, detailed guide on how to make ridiculous amounts of currency from literally just mapping. No real investments. We're not doing any kind of trickery with scarabs or anything like that. We are doing some trickery with sextants, but outside of that, this method is absolutely bonkers. So those of you guys that were tuned in to my live stream yesterday, twitch.tv/Scottoria. We were experimenting quite a bit with different contracts and blueprints and stuff like that. More specifically, 108 deception contracts and just kind of gauging our price margins, etc. Following that stream, I ended up wanting to take a break from Heist and just do some casual mapping, and then it hit me. Then the idea hit me. Jun and Alva, absolutely ridiculous amounts of profits from this. It was just and it makes a lot of sense if you really sit back and look at it. With everyone doing these duping blueprints, with everyone doing these contracts and heists, it's leaving a huge deficit in the economy in regards to a lot of things that mappers tend to provide. Now, with a lot less people mapping, a lot less of these services being provided, and that in turn increases the costs and rewards for a lot of these items. Now, when you're in Scottoria, you're talking about Alva and Jun. We only have a limited amount of master missions here, right? Well, let me tell you something about that. So right now we are looking in an economy where sextant prices are, let's just look at the price that you can roll Alva or Jun missions. And that's another key factor here is you have two different missions, two different masters that you're running. So if you hit either or, that's more opportunity. So I can buy 85 for 10 chaos, or, we can even go down the line, right? So 1 for 8. Even 1 for 7 is ridiculous. 1 chaos for 7 or 8, depending on if you do get this good deal. You can actually roll these on your map device and get these master missions on your atlas. So that way you don't even have to use your whatever it's called in your map device. You literally just roll it on your sextants here. As you can see, I hit an Einhar. I just put that over. And now you're also going to say to yourself, well, I don't want to have to roll these sextants every 3 maps. You can also roll them on all these different watchstones in areas of the atlas that you're not currently running, and then swap the watchstone over and just bring it over here, bring the old one back over. That way you can roll a bunch of different sextants, a bunch of different watchstones, and get large amounts of Jun and Alva missions. Now, what is it about these missions that are actually generating us buku currency right now? Let's start off with Alva first, because Alva is actually the most lucrative one right now. Because if you're not already in the PoE TFT Discord server, I'm not at all endorsed nor sponsored by nor nothing when it comes to the owners of this server. I'm literally just a guest and one who likes to use the server. I'm gonna actually have the link down below in the description so you can join this server to make it a lot easier for yourself. As you can see here, this is the wanting to buy channel, and look at how many double corrupt chambers: 250C, 5x or 200C. Double corruption chamber, 5x, locus of corruption, it goes on. So these are a sacrifice room. That's the other one we're going to talk about, but we're not going to sell it for 50C because that's a ripoff. So that's a lot of money for just a simple room. And how do we go about getting that room? Whenever we run an Alva mission, if you're a very newer player, and guys, bear with me, we might have some newer players viewing the video, so I'm gonna speak in a way that is better for them to understand. So whenever you see Alva in a mission or in a map, she's gonna present you the temple like this, and at the top right corner, she's gonna offer you 2 rooms essentially. Well, 2 architects. That's gonna change the room into either or. Now, right now, as you can see, I don't have a corruption chamber on here. I only have 6 encouragements remaining, so that tells me this temple is probably pretty much bricked anyway. So I'm just gonna keep running them until I get something good. Now, I don't see, I'm looking at my sample, and I don't see a corruption chamber. And now during these missions, whenever she offers me the 2 architects at the top, I hover my mouse over each one, and I'm looking for players have minus maximum resistances. That is known as the corruption chamber. It even says corruption chamber on the top, but it's a lot easier to just hover your mouse over it and then look for that. You're also looking for sacrifice chambers. We'll get into that in a second. Now, whenever she presents that, and then you do see your corruption chamber on the temple, it's purely RNG. There's really no trick to the trade. You literally just keep chaining Alvas until she keeps presenting you the corruption chamber, and you eventually get it to tier 3. Once it's tier 3 and you complete and your temple's ready to run, you just pop in that Discord server and post willing to sell Locus of Corruption for 300. I was selling for 300 C, or which is around 7 Exalt. Actually, it's a little bit more than 7 Exalt, and every single one of them sold. So by all means, put it up for sale for 7, 8 Exalt, 300 Exalt from literally just, and then literally the very next temple, I got another one. So I made ridiculous amounts of Exalt from just that. Now, it's not the most complete money-making scheme unless you have an alternate means of approach too, and that is the sacrifice chamber. So not only do you also have the corruption chamber available to you during your Alva runs, but if you also happen to get, or you happen to get a sacrifice chamber at tier 3, you're going to notice a lot of people saying just throw a leather belt in there, you can get a headhunter, which is absolutely true. If you want to gamble that, by all means. I'm more of the safer bet type of person. I want to make money. Now, how do I make money from the sacrifice room? Well, let's start off with, if you do have big money to spend as an investment, let's go with Mask of the Stitch Demon, right? So right now, Mask of the Stitch Demon's going for about 210, 220 chaos. Now, whenever you have a tier 3 sacrifice chamber, all you got to do is put in a Mask of the Spirit Drinker and a Vial of the Summoning. That's 30 chaos plus what, 55, 80. So let's say about 130 chaos, and it will always turn into Mask of the Stitch Demon, which is 220 chaos. So you're making about 100 chaos profit margin there. Now, if you don't have that initial investment, you also have Amayukins. And actually, it's better to look at both of these options, as the prices for the base items tend to fluctuate. So sometimes Amayukin is going to be worth more than Mask of the Stitch Demon in regards to profit margins, your initial investment versus how much you're making back. In order to make Amayukins, which is 2 Exalt or 95 Chaos, you make Dance of the Offered, which is going for literally 5 Chaos. And then also a Vial of Ritual, which is also 5 Chaos. Now, that's a 10 Chaos investment for a 95 Chaos item. That's and it guarantees this. There is no RNG here. It guarantees these boots when you put both of those items into the tier 3 sacrifice chamber. So that is 2 different rooms that Alva can offer you that makes you ridiculous amounts of money. Now, the next thing we're going to be looking at is Jun. Jun is one of those this is one of those masters that it honestly, it took me a little while to truly grasp the concept behind. I was not very good at the investigation thing. Now, some key points I want to put out there, and some aspects of it that was kind of tripping me up a little bit. That wasn't all these lines everywhere. Everything just looks really confusing. And those my newer viewers out there is probably feeling the same way. They're just kind of clicking bargain with or throw in jail or whatever. Because it's just easier, right? All right, so I'm going to break this down just a little bit, and hopefully, and if you have any kind of questions at all about this, feel free to hop into voice chat with me. I'm usually in my Discord server most every night, and I'm always happy to answer any kind of questions at all, or post comments down below. Maybe you guys can help each other out. So whenever you see like a safe house being ready here, you actually don't have to run it. Like, I've left my mastermind here for ages. I have Chimera over here in transportation, which could potentially give you a headhunter. So I'm going to go ahead and leave him there. But more importantly, here's where the real biggest moneymaker is. That's it that fled over in research. So if we get him to tier 3 and get him at this top level right here is the captain spot. He's like, I know last time he was there, I actually had 2 benches where I was able to upgrade Chayula Breachstones to pure Breachstones. And then if we take a quick look at that, let's look at Chayula's pure Breachstone. So just the initial investment, right? So initial investment, we're looking at about 45 chaos to 1 Exalt. So then we buy that if we don't already have one, and then we upgrade it at the Breachstone table for about 110 chaos. So that's a huge profit margin. Now, last time I had it that fled in the research captain spot, I actually had 2 benches too. So I was able to do this twice from that one safe house. Now, in order to do this, you're going to notice whenever you're running these Jun missions, you're going to be offered to move people around. It'll say, I don't know, Jorgen. As you can see, Jorgen is rivals with Gravicius. You're eventually going to get an option to swap them around. Or Trusted, you're going to probably eventually have the option to move Perandus over here or Eleron over here. So in this case, what I'm actually looking to do is get an It That Fled, get it a +1 rank, So that way it's a rank 2, and then all of his counterparts are just lower ranks. So if I'm getting a Varici or if I'm getting a Hillock, I'm probably going to do like an imprisonment, so that way they go down in rank. So that way he's the most viable candidate to get ranked up to the research captain. I'm just going to keep chaining. You literally just keep chaining them. And if you get people in the wrong places, so if this bar fills up and it says it's time to run the safe house and you don't have it set up to the way you want it set up, just ignore it. Just keep running Juns until you get your layout how you want it to be laid out. Now, there's a couple different avenues of approach here. There's actually a lot of different ways to make money off of this. And we're talking about like Varici over in research, et cetera, et cetera. The 3 I'm going to talk about today, because I don't want to confuse you guys too much, is Chimera and transportation. You want to put him the captain there at rank 3. And you can actually get some really valuable items such as a headhunter or whatever. It's not guaranteed headhunter. It's absolutely very much of a gamble, but it's always fun to do. It that fled, you want to be a captain spot at rank 3, because that's how you're going to upgrade those Chayula Breachstones into pure Chayula Breachstones. And like I said, I got 2 chests last time I did it, so I got to upgrade 2 of them. I don't know if that's a common thing or not. I just recently started getting into Jun. Now, here's a secret one, is Chimera over in intervention, captain rank 3. Now, with the current, and look at the current economy, and this is why I'm bringing this up. The current economy is saying that you can use fractured fossils to dupe these blueprints that everyone's running and using their 4% trinkets on. Now, this is kind of messing up the symbiotic relationship between delvers and delirious farmers. Delirious farmers spits out the scarabs. Delvers spit out the fractured fossils, so that way delirious farmers can keep doing their thing. And then they use the scarabs that the delirious farmers get. There's a whole symbiotic relationship there. Now, with the introduction of blueprints being able to be fractured fossil, that's skyrocketed the prices on fractured fossils, and that's in turn made the prices of scarabs go up. So in order for delvers to continue running their delving, they're going to need more of these scarabs or more of these sulfite runs, rotations, etc. Now, how do we go about getting these scarabs? And that's in turn made the prices for scarabs go up exponentially. So if we put Chimera in intervention at rank 3 captain spot, he's going to be spitting out sulfite scarabs, which I'm pretty sure last I checked are going for about 15 chaos, and he pumps out gilded ones. So last I checked, actually, let's just type it in right here. So gilded sulfite scarab, right? So we're looking at about 15 chaos each, and he'll usually spit out a couple of them. So that's a little bit of a hot tip there on getting those scarabs and being able to sell them. But in turn, like I said, guys, just simply run these, get your sextants rolled if you do run out of master missions, and you're going to continue to get more master missions while you're running your sextant rolls and while they're so cheap. So if you guys enjoyed the video, I do appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch this. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button down below if you have any tips and advice for fellow players. Feel free to post it in the comments down below as well, and then join my Discord server and ask any other questions you may have in regards to making profits or your builds or whatever. See you guys again very soon.